Qur'an translation from Ali Ünal. Audio prepared by Respect Graduate School. Surah 78. An-Naba, the announcement. Verse 1. What are they asking each other about? Verse 2. About the awesome tidings, verse 3. About which they are in disagreement. Verse 4. No, indeed. They have no need to disagree or question one another about it. Soon they will come to know. Verse 5. Again, no, indeed. Soon they will come to know. Verse 6. Have we not made the earth as a cradle? Verse 7. And the mountains as masts? Verse 8. And we have created you in pairs. Verse 9. And we have made your sleep for rest. Verse 10. And we have made the night as a cloak, covering both you and the world. Verse 11. And we have made the day for seeking livelihood. Verse 12. And we have built above you 7 firm heavens. Verse 13. And we have set up therein a lamp blazing and resplendent. Verse 14. And we send down out of the rain clouds water in abundance. Verse 15. So that we may produce with it grain and plants. Verse 16. And gardens dense and luxuriant. Verse 17. Now assuredly, the day of judgment and distinction is a time appointed as the result of all that takes place in this world. Verse 18. The day when the trumpet is blown, and you all come forth in hosts. Verse 19. And the heaven is opened for the descent of angels, and becomes as if gates, so that the world of angels and the world of humankind join each other. Verse 20. And the mountains are set in motion, and so become as if they had never existed. Verse 21. Surely hell lies as a place for surveillance. Verse 22. For the disbelieving rebellious, and a destined home, which they prepared for themselves while in the world. Verse 23. Wherein they will remain for ages. Verse 24. There they will taste neither coolness nor any drink. Verse 25. Except boiling water and pus. Verse 26. As a recompense fitting for their sins. Verse 27. For they used not to expect to be called to account for their deeds. Verse 28. And denied our revelations and all our other signs in the universe with willful, obstinate denial. Verse 29. And everything that they did, we wrote down as a record. Verse 30. So, taste the fruit of your deeds, and we will not increase you except in suffering. Verse 31. For the God-revering pious, there will surely be triumph. Verse 32. Gardens and vineyards. Verse 33. And youthful, full-breasted maidens of equal age. Verse 34. And a cup full to the brim. Verse 35. They will hear therein neither vain talk nor falsehood. Verse 36. All this as a reward from your Lord, a gift according to His, reckoning in full satisfaction. Verse 37. The Lord of the heavens and the earth and all that is between them, the all-merciful. No one will have the power to address him. Verse 38. On that day, the Spirit and the angels stand in ranks. No one will speak except him whom the all-merciful allows, and he speaks what is right. Verse 39. That day of judgment is the day absolutely true, on which the truth will prevail. So whoever wills then, let him take a way of return to his Lord. Verse 40. We have surely warned you against a punishment near at hand. On that day, a person will look at what he has forwarded from the world with his own hands, and the unbeliever will say, "Oh, would that I were mere dust," instead of being a responsible being with consciousness and free will. Surah 79. An-Nazi'at, those who yearn. Verse 1. By those, angels, who immediately fly out and plunge, with God's command, and plunge into fulfilling it. Verse 2. By those angels who move gently and eagerly because of the command they have received. Verse 3. By those angels who swiftly float through space to fulfill God's command. Verse 4. And so hasten along as if in a race. Verse 5. And thus fulfill the commands in the operation of the universe. Verse 6. The last hour will have come. On the day when a blast of the trumpet will convulse the world. Verse 7. Followed by the succeeding one. Verse 8. Hearts on that day will be throbbing in distress. Verse 9. Their eyes downcast. Verse 10. Yet they, the unbelievers, say, will we really be restored to our former state of life? Verse 11. Will we when we have become bones rotten and crumbled away? Verse 12. They say, in derision, then that would be a return with loss. Verse 13. It will indeed be but a single cry. Verse 14. And then they will all have been awakened to life on the plain of supreme gathering. Verse 15. Has the report of Moses come to you? Verse 16. When his Lord called out to him in the sacred valley of Tua. Verse 17. Go to the Pharaoh, for he has exceedingly rebelled. Verse 18. And say to him, do you have intent or inclination to attain to purity? Verse 19. Then I will guide you to your Lord, so you stand in awe of him and behave with humility. Verse 20. He went to the Pharaoh and showed him the great sign, the miracle of the staff. Verse 21. But the Pharaoh denied his messengership and defied him. Verse 22. Thereafter he turned away and set out to struggle with him. Verse 23. Then he gathered his men and hosts and made a proclamation. Verse 24. Saying, I am your supreme Lord. Verse 25. And so God seized him and made an example of him, of punishment in the later and the earlier life. Verse 26. For sure, in this there is certainly a lesson for anyone who has awe of and therefore humility before God. Verse 27. O humankind, are you harder to create or is the heaven? He has built it. Verse 28. He has raised its vault and put it in an order. Verse 29. And he obscured its night and brought out its light of day. Verse 30. And after that, he has spread out the earth in the egg shape for habitability. Verse 31. Out of it, he has brought forth its waters and its herbage. Verse 32. And the mountains he has set firm. Verse 33. All this as a means of life for you and your animals. Verse 34. But when the great overwhelming event comes, verse 35. On that day, human will recall and understand for what he strove. Verse 36. And the blazing flame will come into view for all who see. Verse 37. And so, whoever rebelled against God, verse 38, and preferred the life of this world, verse 39. The blazing flame will be his final refuge, verse 40. But as for him who lived in awe of his Lord, being ever conscious of his seeing him, and of the standing before him in the hereafter, and held back his carnal soul from lusts and caprices. Verse 41. Surely paradise will be his final refuge. Verse 42. They ask you, O messenger, about the last hour. When will it come to anchor? Verse 43. But how could you have knowledge about its time? Verse 44. With your Lord alone rests the exact knowledge of its term. Verse 45. You are only a warner to those who are in awe of it. Verse 46. It will be, on the day they see it, as if they had remained in the world, but for the afternoon of a day, or its morning. Surah 80. Abasa, he frowned. Verse 1. He, a disbelieving haughty man, frowned and turned away. Verse 2. Because, while he was talking with the messenger, the blind man approached him. Verse 3. What would inform you, O haughty one, but that he might grow in purity by doing good deeds? Verse 4. Or that he might grow mindful of God's message, and the reminder benefit him. Verse 5. As for him who deems himself to be independent, not needy of divine guidance because of pride in his wealth and status. Verse 6. You, O messenger, attend to him, so that he may accept Islam and reform. Verse 7. Though you are not accountable if he does not grow in purity through acceptance of faith and fulfilling its obligations and responsibilities. Verse 8. But as for him who came to you eagerly. Verse 9. And he was in awe of God. Verse 10. You divert your attention from him to the other. Verse 11. No, indeed, it surely is a reminder and an admonition that suffices for all who come to it with an open heart. Verse 12. So whoever wills receives admonition and takes heed. Verse 13. It is recorded. In scrolls greatly honored. Verse 14. Exalted in God's sight and perfectly purified of falsehood, vanity, and inconsistency. Verse 15. Born by the hands of angel envoys. Verse 16. Noble and virtuous. Verse 17. Human is ruined, for how thankless and disbelieving he is. Verse 18. Does he never consider from what thing he has created him? Verse 19. From a drop of seminal fluid. He has created him and fashioned him in measured proportions, for his shape and for his life. Verse 20. Thereafter, he has made the path to God easy for him. Verse 21. Thereafter, he causes him to die and buries him. Verse 22. Thereafter, when he wills, he raises him again to life. Verse 23. No, indeed. Human has not fulfilled what God enjoined on him. Verse 24. Then, let human consider his food, and so reflect on his Lord's mercy and the truth of resurrection. Verse 25. That we pour down the water in abundance. Verse 26. Then we split the earth in clefts. Verse 27. And so we enable grain to grow therein. Verse 28. And grapes and edible plants. Verse 29. And olive trees and date palms. Verse 30. And gardens dense with foliage. Verse 31. And diverse other fruits and herbage. Verse 32. As a means of livelihood for you and your animals. Verse 33. But when the piercing cry, heralding the resurrection, sounds. Verse 34. On that day, when a person flees from his brother. Verse 35. And from his mother and father. Verse 36. And from his spouse and his children. Verse 37. Everyone on that day has concern of his own, enough to make him heedless of anything else. Verse 38. Some faces will on that day be radiant with happiness. Verse 39. Smiling, rejoicing at good tidings. Verse 40. And some faces will on that day be dust-stained. Verse 41. Veiled in darkness. Verse 42. Those are the unbelievers, shameless and dissolute. Surah 81. At-Takwir, the folding up. Verse 1. When the sun is folded up and darkened. Verse 2. And when the stars fall, losing their luster. Verse 3. And when the mountains are set moving. Verse 4. And when, highly prized, pregnant camels are left untended. Verse 5. And when the wild beasts, as also the domesticated ones, go forth from their places of rest, in terror of the destruction of the world, and then, following their revival, are gathered together before God. for the settlement of their accounts. Verse 6. And when the seas rise up boiling. Verse 7. And when the souls are coupled, the righteous men with pure, righteous spouses, and the evil ones with their evil spouses and with devilish companions. Verse 8. And when the female infant, buried alive, is questioned, verse 9, for what crime she was killed, verse 10. And when the scrolls of the deeds of every person are laid open, verse 11. And when the heaven is torn away, with all the truths becoming manifest, verse 12. And when the blazing flame is kindled to fierce heat, verse 13. And when paradise is brought near for the God-revering pious to enter, verse 14. Every person will, then, come to know what he has prepared for himself. Verse 15. Oh, I swear by the stars which recede, disappearing in the sun's light, verse 16, and rise in their course, and then set, disappearing again, verse 17, and by the night as it inclines to depart, verse 18, and the morning as it breathes, verse 19. That this, which informs you of all the events mentioned, is the word brought by an honored messenger, Gabriel. Verse 20. Endowed with power, with high rank and esteem before the Lord of the supreme throne. Verse 21. One obeyed by his aides, and trustworthy in fulfilling God's orders, most particularly conveying the revelation. Verse 22. Your companion, the messenger who has spent his life among you, is not a madman. Verse 23. Indeed, he saw him, Gabriel, on the clear horizon. Verse 24. He is not niggardly in conveying to you revelation and knowledge of the unseen, what lies beyond the reach of your perception. Verse 25. Nor is it, this Qur'an, the word of any devil excluded from God's mercy. Verse 26. Then where are you going? Verse 27. It is nothing other than a reminder and instruction for all conscious beings. Verse 28. For any of you who wills to take a straight path and follow it without deviance. Verse 29. But you cannot will to do so unless God wills, the Lord of the worlds. Surah 82. Al-Infatar, the Cleaving. Verse 1. When the heaven is cleft open. Verse 2. And when the stars fall in disorder and are scattered. Verse 3. And when the seas burst forth, spilling over their bounds to intermingle. Verse 4. And when the graves are overturned and pour out their contents. Verse 5. Everyone will come to understand all, the good and evil, that he has forwarded to his afterlife while in the world, and all, the good and evil, that he has left behind undone. Verse 6. O human, what is it that deludes you concerning your Lord, the all-munificent? Verse 7. He who has created you, fashioned you, and proportioned you, in measures perfect for the purpose of your creation. Verse 8. Having constituted you in whatever form he has willed. Verse 9. No, indeed. But, being deluded, they deny the last judgment in the other world. Verse 10. Yet there are angel guardians watching over you. Verse 11. Noble and honorable recording. Verse 12. Who know what you do? Verse 13. The virtuous and godly ones will indeed be in the gardens of perpetual bliss. Verse 14. While the disbelieving, shameless, dissolute ones will indeed be in the blazing flame. Verse 15. They will enter it to roast therein on the day of judgment. Verse 16. They will never be absent from it. Verse 17. What enables you to perceive what the day of judgment is? Verse 18. Again, what is it that enables you to perceive what the day of judgment is. Verse 19. The day on which no soul has power to do anything in favor of another. The command on that day will be God's entirely and exclusively. Surah 83. At Tatfif, default in duty. Verse 1. Woe to those who deal in fraud. Verse 2. Those who, when they are to receive their due from others, demand that it be in full. Verse 3. But when they measure or weigh out for others, they make it less than the due. Verse 4. Do those people not know that they are bound to be raised from the dead? Verse 5. For an awesome day. Verse 6. The day when all humankind will rise from their graves and stand before the Lord of the worlds? Verse 7. No, indeed. The record of the shameless dissolute one is surely in Sijin, a lowly register, portending eternal punishment. Verse 8. What enables you to perceive what Sijin is? Verse 9. A register inscribed indelibly and sealed. Verse 10. Woe on that day to those who deny. Verse 11. Those who deny the day of judgment. Verse 12. Which none denies except everyone exceeding the bounds set by God, everyone addicted to sinning. Verse 13. Who, when our revelations are conveyed to him, says, fables of the ancients. Verse 14. By no means. But what they themselves have earned has rusted upon their hearts and prevents them from perceiving the truth. Verse 15. By no means. Assuredly, they will on that day be veiled from the mercy of their Lord. Verse 16. Then they will certainly enter in the blazing flame to roast. Verse 17. Thereafter, they will be told, this is what you used to deny while in the world. Verse 18. No, indeed. The record of the virtuous and godly ones is surely in Iliyin, a lofty register portending elevated stations. Verse 19. What enables you to perceive what Iliyin is? Verse 20. It is a register inscribed indelibly and sealed. Verse 21. Those who are near station to God will attest to it. Verse 22. The virtuous and godly ones will certainly be in gardens of bounty and blessing. Verse 23. On thrones looking around at the blessings of paradise. Verse 24. You will recognize on their faces the brightness of bliss. Verse 25. They will be served to drink pure wine under the seal of divine sanction and preservation. Verse 26. Its seal is a fragrance of musk. And to that, blessing of paradise then, let all those who aspire to things of high value aspire as if in a race with each other. Verse 27. Its admixture will be from tasnim, the most delightful drink out of the loftiest spring of paradise. Verse 28. A spring from which those near station to God drink. Verse 29. Those who disbelieved and were committed to accumulating sin used to laugh at those who believed. Verse 30. Whenever they passed by them, they winked at one another in derision. Verse 31. And when they returned to their families, they would return full of quips about how they mocked the believers. Verse 32. When they saw those who believed, they would say, look, those have indeed gone astray. Verse 33. Yet they were not appointed as keepers over them, that they should presume to pass judgment on them. Verse 34. So on this day of judgment, those who believed will laugh at the unbelievers. Verse 35. On thrones looking on at the condition of the unbelievers in hell. Verse 36. Now see, are the unbelievers being paid for what they used to do? Surah 84. Al-Inshiqaq, the bursting asunder. Verse 1. When the heaven is split asunder. Verse 2. Obeying its Lord as in truth it is expected to do so, and always does. Verse 3. And when the earth is flattened out. Verse 4. And casts forth whatever is in it and becomes empty. Verse 5. Obeying its Lord, as in truth it is expected to do so and always does. Verse 6. O human, you are ever toiling toward your Lord in a labor to be re-encountered before his judgment. Verse 7. Then, as for him who will be given his record in his right hand. Verse 8. Surely he will be reckoned with by an easy reckoning. Verse 9. And will return in joy to his household, prepared for him in paradise. Verse 10. But as for him who will be given his record in his left hand from behind his back. Verse 11. He will surely pray for destruction. Verse 12. And enter the flame to roast. Verse 13. For indeed he used to be in joyous conceit among his household, in his earthly life. Verse 14. He thought that he would never return to God for judgment. Verse 15. No, indeed. Rather his Lord was ever seeing him. Verse 16. So I swear by the afterglow of sunset. Verse 17. And the night and all that it enshrouds by degrees. Verse 18. And the moon as it grows full. Verse 19. You will most certainly move on from one state to another, congruous with it. Verse 20. What then is the matter with them that they do not believe? Verse 21. And when the Qur'an is recited to them, they do not prostrate in submission to its message. Verse 22. Rather, those who disbelieve deny it and its message. Verse 23. And God has full knowledge of what they harbor in their hearts. Verse 24. So give them the glad tidings of a painful punishment. Verse 25. Except for those who believe and do good righteous deeds. For them, there is a reward constant and beyond measure. Surah 85. Al-Buruj, the stars. Verse 1. By the heaven with its constellations, verse 2. And by the promised day, verse 3. And by the one who witnesses, and that which is witnessed. Verse 4. Ruined were the people of the ditch. Verse 5. Of the fire kept burning with fuel. Verse 6. When they were seated over it. Verse 7. And were themselves witnesses of what they did to the believers. Verse 8. They detested them for no other reason than that they believed in God, the all-glorious with irresistible might, the all-praiseworthy. Verse 9. They believed in Him, to whom belongs the sovereignty of the heavens and the earth. God is indeed a witness over everything. Verse 10. Those who persecute the believing men and the believing women, and then do not repent, for them there surely is the punishment of hell. For them there is the punishment of burning fire. Verse 11. But those who believe and do good, righteous deeds, for them there are gardens through which rivers flow. That is the great triumph. Verse 12. Surely the grip of your Lord is indeed severe. Verse 13. He it is who originates and brings forth anew. Verse 14. And he is also the all-forgiving, the all-loving. Verse 15. The Lord of the throne, the all-sublime. Verse 16. One who freely does whatever he wills. Verse 17. Has there come to you the report of the hosts? Verse 18. The Pharaoh and the tribe of Thamud, whom God seized and punished severely. Verse 19. Yet those who disbelieve among your people persist in denying the divine message. Verse 20. But all the while God encompasses them from all sides. Verse 21. Indeed, it is a glorious Qur'an, a sublime book revealed and recited. Verse 22. In a preserved tablet, guarded from every accursed devil and secure from any falsehood. Surah 86. At Tariq, the comer by night. Verse 1. By the heaven and that which comes at night. Verse 2. What enables you to perceive what it is that comes at night? Verse 3. It is the bright piercing star. Verse 4. There's not a soul, but over it is a guardian. Verse 5. Let human, then, consider from what he has been created. Verse 6. He has been created from some of a lowly fluid gushing forth. Verse 7. It proceeds, as a result of incitement, between the lumbar zone and the vertebra and the ribs. Verse 8. Surely he, who has created human from a lowly fluid, is able to restore him to life after his death. Verse 9. On the day when all things that remained or were kept secret will be made manifest. Verse 10. And he will have no power, nor a helper, against God's punishment. Verse 11. I swear by the heaven ever revolving, with whatever is in it and recurring patterns of rainfall. Verse 12. And by the earth bursting with the growth of plants. Verse 13. Surely it, the Qur'an, is a decisive word distinguishing between truth and falsehood. Verse 14. It is not a word in jest. Verse 15. They who reject it are busy making schemes. Verse 16. And I am making a scheme. Verse 17. So let the unbelievers remain at will. Let them continue to remain at will for a little while. Surah 87. Al-Allah, the Most High. Verse 1. Glorify the name of your Lord, the Most High. Verse 2. Who creates and fashions in due proportions. Verse 3. And who determines a particular life, nature, and goal for each creature, and guides it toward the fulfillment of that goal. Verse 4. And who brings forth herbage. Verse 5. Then turns it to dark-colored rotten stubble. Verse 6. For the guidance of humankind. We will establish the Qur'an in your heart and have you recite it to others, so you will not forget anything of it. Verse 7. Accept what God wills. Surely he knows all that is manifest and all that is hidden, including your outward and inward states. Verse 8. We will guide you to the easiest path in all your affairs. Verse 9. So remind and instruct them in the truth, in case reminder and instruction may be of use. Verse 10. He who stands in awe of God will be mindful of the instruction. Verse 11. But the most wicked one remains aloof from it. Verse 12. He who will enter the great fire of hell to roast. Verse 13. He will neither die therein to be saved from punishment, nor live. Verse 14. Prosperous indeed is he who purifies himself of sins and of his wealth by spending from it in God's cause and for the needy. Verse 15. And who mentions the name of his Lord and does the prayer. Verse 16. But you, O humankind, are disposed to prefer the life of this world. Verse 17. While the hereafter is better and more lasting. Verse 18. This is surely contained in the former scrolls. Verse 19. The scrolls of Abraham and Moses. Scrolls of Surah 88. Al-Ghashiyah, the overwhelming event. Verse 1. Has the account of the overwhelming come to you? Verse 2. Some faces will on that day be downcast. Verse 3. Having toiled in the world, only to weariness, with no portion in the hereafter. Verse 4. They will enter the hot, burning fire to roast. Verse 5. They will be given to drink from a boiling spring. Verse 6. No food will there be for them, but a poisonous, thorny plant. Verse 7. It will neither nourish nor avail against hunger. Verse 8. And some faces on that day will be in delight. Verse 9. Well pleased with the fruit of their endeavor in the world. Verse 10. In a lofty garden. Verse 11. Wherein they will hear no idle talk. Verse 12, therein will be a flowing spring. Verse 13, therein couches raised high. Verse 14, and goblets placed ready. Verse 15, and cushions arrayed. Verse 16, and rich carpets spread out. Verse 17, do they not consider the camels, how they are created? Verse 18, and the heaven, how it has been raised high. Verse 19, and the mountains, how they have been set firm. Verse 20, and the earth, how it has been spread out. Verse 21, and so remind and exhort them, for you are one whose duty is to remind and exhort. Verse 22, you are not one to dictate faith to them. Verse 23, but whoever turns away, averse to reminder and exhortation, and disbelieves in what is conveyed to him. Verse 24, God will punish him with the greatest punishment of hell. Verse 25, indeed to us is their return. Verse 26, thereafter it is for us to call them to account. Surah 89, Al-Fajr, the daybreak, verse 1, by the dawn, verse 2, and 10 nights, verse 3, and the even and the odd, verse 4, and the night as it journeys on, towards an end. Verse 5, is there not in that a solemn oath for one endowed with reason to reflect upon, so that it may guide him to the truth and keep him away from evils? Verse 6, have you not considered how your Lord dealt with the tribe of Ad? Verse 7, the people of Iram with many columned, that is to say, monumental buildings. Verse 8, the like of which had not been created in the land. Verse 9, and with the tribe of Thamud, who hewed rocks in the valley to make dwellings. Verse 10, and with the Pharaoh, who had formidable strongholds. Verse 11, all of these rebelled and transgressed all bounds in the lands where they lived. Verse 12, and increased manifold disorder and corruption therein. Verse 13, therefore your Lord let loose on them a scourge of punishment, coming in different forms. Verse 14, your Lord is ever on the watch, over human, and tests him in the blessings with which he favors him. Verse 15, and so human, when his Lord tries him by bestowing favors on him, says, my Lord has honored me. Verse 16, but whenever he tries him by straightening his means of livelihood, then he says, my Lord has humiliated me. Verse 17, no, indeed, you, O people, do not treat the orphan with kindness and generosity. Verse 18, and do not urge one another to feed the destitute. Verse 19, and you consume inheritance belonging to you or others with greed, without distinction of the lawful and unlawful. Verse 20, and you love wealth with a boundless ardor for it and for hoarding. Verse 21, no, indeed, when the earth is pounded to dust with pounding after pounding. Verse 22, and your Lord comes, unveils his power and majesty, and the angels in row upon row. Verse 23, and on that day hell is brought forward. On that day human will come to understand what being favored with bounties meant and how he should have responded. But what will that understanding then avail him? Verse 24, he will say, would that I had forwarded some good deeds for my life to come. Verse 25, none can punish as he will punish on that day. Verse 26, and none can bind as he will bind on that day. Verse 27, but to the righteous God will say, O you soul at rest, content with the truths of faith and God's commands and his treatment of his creatures. Verse 28, return to your Lord, well pleased with him and his treatment of you, and well pleasing to him. Verse 29, enter then among my servants, fully content with servanthood to me. Verse 30. And enter my paradise. Surah 90. Al-Balad, the city. Verse 1. I swear by this sacred city, Makkah. Verse 2. And you, O messenger, are a dweller in this city. Verse 3. And by him, Abraham, who begets, and him, Muhammad, whom he begot. Verse 4. We have assuredly created human in a life of trial and hardship. Verse 5. Does human think that no one has power over him? Verse 6. He says, I have consumed abundant wealth. Verse 7. Does he then think that no one ever sees him? Verse 8. Have we not made for him a pair of eyes? Verse 9. And a tongue and two lips. Verse 10. And shown him the two ways, one to follow and one to avoid? Verse 11. Yet he makes no effort to make the ascent. Verse 12. What enables you to perceive what the ascent is? Verse 13. It is the freeing of a bondsman, a slave, or a captive. Verse 14. Or feeding on a day of privation. Verse 15. An orphan near of kin. Verse 16. Or a poor wretch in misery. Verse 17. And being besides of those who believe and exhort one another to patience, and exhort one another to pity and compassion. Verse 18. Those are they who are the people of happiness and prosperity, who will be given their records in their right hands on Judgment Day. Verse 19. But those who disbelieve in our revelations, they are the people of wretchedness, who will be given their records in their left hands. Verse 20. On them is fire closed over. Surah 91. Ash-Shams, the sun. Verse 1. By the sun and its brightness. Verse 2. And the moon as it follows it, reflecting its light. Verse 3. And the day as it reveals it, the sun. Verse 4. And the night as it enshrouds it. Verse 5. And the heaven and that, all magnificent one, who has built it. Verse 6. And the earth and that, all magnificent one, who has spread it. Verse 7. And the human selfhood in that, all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-wise one, who has formed it to perfection. Verse 8. And who has inspired it with the conscience of what is wrong and bad for it, and what is right and good for it. Verse 9. He is indeed prosperous, who has grown it in purity, away from self-aggrandizing rebellion against God. Verse 10. And he is indeed lost, who has corrupted it, in self-aggrandizing rebellion against God. Verse 11. The tribe of Thamud denied the divine message and their messenger and displayed their denial in their arrogant rebellion. Verse 12. Especially when, finally, the most wicked among them, instigated by his people, rushed forward. Verse 13. The messenger of God, Salih, said, warning them and reminding them again of the terms of their pledge, it is the she-camel of God, and observe her turn in drinking. Verse 14. But they denied him and slaughtered her, and so their Lord crushed them for their sin and leveled them with the ground. Verse 15. And he, being the all-knowing and all-powerful and all-just, does not fear the outcome of events. Surah 92. El-Lail, the night. Verse 1. By the night as it enshrouds the earth in its darkness. Verse 2. And the day as it rises bright. Verse 3. And that all-magnificent one, who has created the male and the female. Verse 4. Surely your endeavor is diverse in character and ends. Verse 5. Then, as for him who gives, out of his wealth for God's good pleasure, and keeps from disobedience to him in reverence for him and piety. Verse 6. And affirms the best in creed, action, and the reward to be given. Verse 7. We will make easy for him the path to the state of ease, salvation after an easy reckoning. Verse 8. But as for him who is niggardly and regards himself as self-sufficient in independence of him. Verse 9. And denies the best in creed, action, and the reward to be given. Verse 10. We will make easy for him the path to hardship, punishment after a hard reckoning. Verse 11. And his wealth will not avail him when he falls to ruin. Verse 12. It is surely for us to bestow guidance. Verse 13. And to us belong the hereafter as well as the former, life. Verse 14. And so I warn you of a fire blazing fiercely. Verse 15. None will enter it to roast, but the most wicked. Verse 16. Who denies my message and turns away. Verse 17. And far removed from it, the fire, will be he who keeps farthest away from disobedience to God in greater reverence for him and piety. Verse 18. Who spends his wealth in God's cause and for the needy, so that he may grow in purity. Verse 19. Without anyone who has favored him, so that he should spend in return for it, or expecting any reward in return for what he spends. Verse 20. Rather, he spends only in longing for the good pleasure of his Lord, the Most High. Verse 21. He will certainly be contented, he with his Lord and his Lord with him. Surah 93. Ad-Duha, the brightness of the day. Verse 1. By the forenoon, verse 2. And the night when it has grown dark and most still. Verse 3. Your Lord has not forsaken you, nor has he become displeased with you. Verse 4. Assuredly, what comes after will be better for you than what has gone before. Verse 5. And assuredly, he will increasingly grant you his favors one after another, and you will be contented. Verse 6. Did he not find you an orphan and give shelter to you? Verse 7. And find you unguided by God's messengership, and guide you? Verse 8. And find you in want, and make you self-sufficient? Verse 9. Therefore, do not oppress the orphan. Verse 10. Nor chide and drive away the petitioner. Verse 11. And as for the favor of your Lord, proclaim it. Surah 94. Al-Inshirah, the expansion. Have we not expanded for you your breast? Verse 1. And eased you of the burden? Verse 2. Which weighed so heavily on your back? Verse 3. And have we not exalted for you your renown? Verse 4. Then, surely with hardship comes ease. Verse 5. Surely with hardship comes ease. Verse 6. Therefore, when you are free from one task, resume another task. Verse 7. And seek and strive to please your Lord. Surah 95. At-Tin, the fig. By the fig and the olive, verse 1. And Mount Sinai, verse 2. And this city secure, verse 3. Surely we have created human of the best stature as the perfect pattern of creation. Verse 4. Then we have reduced him to the lowest of the low. Verse 5. Except those who believe and do good, righteous deeds. So there is for them a reward constant and beyond measure. Verse 6. What then, O human, causes you, after all these realities, to deny the last judgment? Verse 7. Is not God the best of judges and the most powerful of sovereigns? Surah 96. Al-Alaq, the clot. Verse 1. Read in and with the name of your Lord, who has created. Verse 2. Created human from a clot clinging to the wall of the womb. Verse 3. Read, and your Lord is the all-munificent. Verse 4. Who has taught human by the pen. Verse 5. Taught human what he did not know. Verse 6. No, indeed, but, despite all his favors to him, human is unruly and rebels. Verse 7. In that he sees himself as self-sufficient, independent, of his Lord. Verse 8. But to your Lord surely is the return, when everyone will account for their life. Verse 9. Have you considered the one who would impede and forbid? Verse 10. A servant of God when he prays? Verse 11. Have you considered if he is, and surely he is, on the right way? Verse 12. Or exhorts others to righteousness and piety? Verse 13. Have you considered if he himself denies the truth and turns away from it? Verse 14. Does he, who would impede the servant in his prayer, not know that God sees all that people do? Verse 15. No, indeed. If he does not desist, we will certainly seize and drag him by the forelock. Verse 16. A lying, sinful forelock. Verse 17. Then let him summon to his help his counsel. Verse 18. We will summon the guards of hell. Verse 19. By no means, pay no heed to him in his attempt to prevent the prayer, but prostrate and draw near to God. Surah 97. Al-Qadr, the Majesty. Verse 1. We have surely sent it, the Qur'an, down in the night of destiny and power. Verse 2. What enables you to perceive what the night of destiny and power is? Verse 3. The night of destiny and power is better than 1,000 months. Verse 4. The angels and the Spirit descend in it by the permission of their Lord, with his decrees for every affair. Verse 5. It is a sheer mercy and security from all misfortunes for the servants who spend it in devotions in appreciation of its worth. It is until the rising of the dawn. Surah 98. Al-Bayinah, the clear evidence. Verse 1. Those who reject faith in the Qur'an and God's messenger from among the people of the book and the polytheists would not abandon the way they were supposed to follow and deviate into the way of unbelief until there had come to them the clear evidence. Verse 2. A messenger from God, reciting and conveying to them teachings absolutely free from any falsehood, from purified pages which only those cleansed of material and spiritual impurities may touch. Verse 3. In which are right ever true ordinances concerning belief, thought, and action. Verse 4. Those who were given the book before did not split into parties until after the clear evidence of the truth came to them. Verse 5. But they were not enjoined anything other than that they should worship God, sincere in faith in him, and practicing their religion purely for his sake, as people of pure faith, and establish the prayer in accordance with its conditions, and pay the prescribed purifying alms, and that is the upright, ever-true religion. Verse 6. Surely those who disbelieve, after the clear evidence has come to them, from among the people of the book and from among the polytheists, will be in the fire of hell, a seed of which they bear in their hearts, abiding therein. They are the worst of creatures. Verse 7. And those who believe and do good, righteous deeds, they are the best of creatures. Verse 8. Their reward is with their Lord, gardens of perpetual bliss, through which rivers flow, abiding therein forever. God is well pleased with them, and they are well pleased with him. That is for him who stands in awe of his Lord. Surah 99. Al-Zilzal, the shaking. Verse 1. When the earth quakes with a violent quaking destined for it. Verse 2. And the earth yields up its burdens. Verse 3. And human cries out, what is the matter with it? Verse 4. On that day, she will recount all its tidings. Verse 5. As your Lord has inspired her to do so. Verse 6. On that day, all humans will come forth in different companies, to be shown their deeds that they did in the world. Verse 7. And so, whoever does an atom's weight of good will see it. Verse 8. And whoever does an atom's weight of evil will see it. Surah 100, Al-Adiyat, the assaulters. Verse 1, by the chargers that run panting. Verse 2, striking sparks of fire. Verse 3, rushing in to make sudden raids at morn. Verse 4, raising thereby clouds of dust. Verse 5, storming thereby into a host, cleaving it. Verse 6, surely human is ungrateful to his Lord. Verse 7, and to this he himself is a sure witness. Verse 8, and most surely he is violent in love of wealth. Verse 9, does he think he will not come to know when all that is in the graves is raised and brought out? Verse 10, and all that is in the breasts is laid open and made out? Verse 11, surely their Lord on that day will be fully aware of them. Surah 101, Al-Qari'ah, the calamity. Verse 1, the sudden mighty strike. Verse 2, what is the sudden mighty strike? Verse 3, what enables you to perceive what the sudden mighty strike is? Verse 4, the day when it occurs, humans will be like moths scattered about. Verse 5, and the mountains will be like carded wool. Verse 6, and then the one whose scales are heavy, with faith and good deeds. Verse 7, he will be in a life of contentment. Verse 8, whereas the one whose scales are light, as devoid of faith and accepted good deeds. Verse 9, he will have his home in a bottomless pit. Verse 10, what enables you to perceive what it is? Verse 11, it is a fire burning fiercely. Surah 102, At-Takathur, the abundance of wealth. Verse 1, competing in increase of worldly goods, seeking and then boasting of the acquisition of things, wealth, pedigree, and posterity, distracts you from the proper purpose of life. Verse 2, until you come to the graves. Verse 3, no, indeed, you will surely come to understand when death comes to you. Verse 4, again, no, indeed, you will surely come to understand it when you are raised from the dead. Verse 5, no, indeed, if only you knew with certainty of knowledge, then you would not disorder priorities. Verse 6, you will most surely see the blazing flame. Verse 7, then, when you go to the other world, you will most surely see it with the eye of certainty. Verse 8, and on that day, you will most surely be questioned as to all the favors bestowed on you. Surah 103, Al-Asr, the time. Verse 1, by time, especially the last part of it, heavy with events. Verse 2, most certainly human is in loss. Verse 3, except those who believe and do good, righteous deeds, and exhort one another to truth, and exhort one another to steadfast patience, in the face of misfortunes and suffering in God's way, and in doing good deeds, and not committing sins. Surah 104, Al-Humazah, the slanderer. Verse 1, woe to everyone who slanders and vilifies. Verse 2, who sees himself above others because he has amassed wealth and without expending it in God's cause and for the needy, counts it in greedy love for it. Verse 3, he thinks that his wealth will make him last forever. Verse 4, by no means. He will most certainly be hurled into the consuming disaster. Verse 5, what enables you to perceive the consuming disaster? Verse 6, it is God's fire set ablaze. Verse 7, which penetrates deep into hearts and burns within as it burns outside. Verse 8, surely it will close in upon them. Verse 9, in extended columns. Surah 105, Al-Fil, the elephant. Verse 1, have you considered how your Lord dealt with the people of the elephant? Verse 2, Did he not bring their evil scheme to nothing? Verse 3. He sent down upon them flocks of birds, unknown in the land. Verse 4. Shooting them with bullet-like stones of baked clay, an emblem of the punishment due to them. Verse 5. And so he rendered them like a field of grain, devoured and trampled. Surah 106. Al-Quraysh, the Quraysh. Verse 1. At least, for God's constant favor of concord and security to the Quraysh. Verse 2. Their concord and security in their winter and summer journeys. Verse 3. Let them worship the Lord of this house, the Kaaba. Verse 4. Who has provided them with food against hunger and made them safe from fear. Surah 107. Al-Ma'un, Acts of Kindness. Verse 1. Have you considered one who denies the Last Judgment? Verse 2. That is the one who repels the orphan. Verse 3. And does not urge the feeding of the destitute. Verse 4. And woe to those worshippers, denying the judgment. Verse 5. Those who are unmindful in their prayers. Verse 6. Those who want to be seen and noted for their acts of worship. Verse 7. Yet deny all assistance to their fellow men. Surah 108. Al-Kawthar, the abundance of good. Verse 1. We have surely granted you unceasing, abundant good. Verse 2. So pray to your Lord and sacrifice for him in thankfulness. Verse 3. Surely it is the one who offends you who is cut off from unceasing good, including posterity. Surah 109. Al-Kafirun, the disbelievers. Verse 1. Say, O you unbelievers, who obstinately reject faith. Verse 2. I do not worship that which you worship. Verse 3. Nor are you worshiping what I worship. Verse 4. Nor will I ever worship that which you worship. Verse 5. And nor will you ever worship what I worship. Verse 6. You have your religion with whatever it will bring you, and I have my religion with whatever it will bring me. Surah 110. An-Nasr, the help. Verse 1. When God's help comes in victory, which is a door to further victories. Verse 2. And you see people entering God's religion in throngs. Verse 3. Then glorify your Lord with his praise, and ask him for forgiveness, for he surely is one who returns repentance with liberal forgiveness and additional reward. Surah 111. Al-Lahab, the flame. Verse 1. May both hands of Abu Lahab be ruined, and are ruined, are they? Verse 2. His wealth has not availed him, nor his gains. Verse 3. He will enter a flaming fire to roast. Verse 4. And, with him, his wife, carrier of firewood, and of evil tales and slander. Verse 5. Around her neck will be a halter of strongly twisted rope. Surah 112. Al-Ikhlas, the unity. Verse 1. Say, He, God, the unique one of absolute unity. Verse 2. God, the eternally besought of all, himself in no need of anything. Verse 3. He begets not, nor is he begotten. Verse 4. And comparable to him, there is none. Surah 113. Al-Falaq, the dawn. Verse 1. Say, I seek refuge in the Lord of the daybreak. Verse 2. From the evil of what he has created. Verse 3. And from the evil of the darkness of night, when it overspreads. Verse 4. And from the evil of the witches who blow on knots to cast a spell. Verse 5. And from the evil of the envious one when he envies. Surah 114. An-Nas, the men. Verse 1. Say, I seek refuge in the Lord of humankind. Verse 2. The sovereign of humankind. Verse 3. The deity of humankind. Verse 4. from the evil of the sneaking whisperer, the Satan. Verse 5. Who whispers into the hearts of humankind? Verse 6. Of the jinn and humankind.